Well, welcome everyone to the concession stand here on the KB Radio Network. I am your host, Kevin Reed, and this is the spoiler review of Sinners, the new Ryan Coogler film that stars Michael B. Jordan. I know you're not seeing double as if you was watching Michael B. Jordan in his movie. Like, Kevin, you already did a review of Sinners. Yes, I did, but I didn't go into spoilers. There was a lot I wanted to discuss about this film, but I couldn't because it would spoil the movie. I didn't want to spoil the movie. Now, this isn't a big Marvel film that leads up and sets up the next phase in the universe and whatever. No, it's nothing like that, but there's so much going on in this film that I felt that you need to experience for yourself. Going to the theater, number one, first and foremost, you need to go see this in the theater if you haven't. And if you haven't seen it, this is the spoiler review, people. This is the spoiler review. So if you don't want to be spoiled, pause this episode, go check out Sinners in the theater, and then come back, and then we can discuss. But for all of you who have seen Sinners, didn't it feel good to be in the theater to watch this movie? This is an experience. It was a theatrical experience. This isn't something that you can, oh, I'll wait till it comes out on HBO Max or whatever, or I'll wait till, do they even sell DVDs anymore, Blu-rays? I don't know. But anyway, I'll wait. No, don't wait. Don't walk, but run to the theater to see this. And if you're able to, see it on the biggest screen that you can. See it in IMAX. See it in all of these other formats that they have at the theaters. You would not be disappointed. I promise you that. And so this film touches in on so much, and I just had to just chat about it. Plus, I wanted to see it again. I had to see it twice in order to really grasp this movie because there was so much going on. There was a lot going on that I was scared that I kind of missed something the first time. Because if you listen to my earlier review of the film, it was perfect in my eyes. It was truly perfect except for the end, and we'll get to that. And I can go in depth now and explain more clearly why I didn't too much like the ending of the movie. But other than that, it was perfect. And the ending wasn't horrible to whereas I was like, oh man, they messed up. No, it wasn't that type of ending. But it was just, like I said, I'll explain it when we get to that point. But I was so afraid of, recency bias and whatever after I gave the review. And I'm like, man, will this be a review that I regret later? For example, I like to be upfront and honest on my show. I don't want to lead all my listeners in a lie. The whole purpose of me doing this podcast, this show, is to be upfront and honest. And I hope that you get that, you sense that while you continue to come back and support. And so, to be completely honest, and there's a couple of reviews like this, but I'm going to use a more recent example. Joker Folie à Deux. I gave Joker Folie à Deux a passing grade after I seen it the first time. Because I was like, well, it wasn't bad. I don't understand why people hating on the movie. Actually, I gave it a pretty high grade. I want to say like a B plus, maybe an A minus. I'm pretty sure it was high. And then after I gave the review and a couple of weeks went by and it started to really weigh on my head, like, man, I can't remember nothing about this movie. And when you can't remember anything about a movie after viewing it a few days prior, it wasn't that good. So I was like, wait, it couldn't have been, that can't be right, because I really enjoyed it. And so when I watched it again the second time, I'm like, this movie is not good. It was not good. And I don't know what I was thinking. Honest to God, I don't know what I was thinking when I watched Joker fully adore. Maybe they should have called it Jokey because it was a joke. That movie was a joke. I liked some performances out of it. There was a couple of scenes in there that I truly enjoyed. Took away from, but as far as the movie in its totality, no, I didn't like the movie. And so, with that being said, after that, it was a learning experience because after that, I really started to take this more serious than what I initially was. And so I weigh on my decisions and I make sure what I say is accurate and true to me, not to please the people who are listening, but to give my honest opinion, which is what you tune in for. And so after this, and I felt so good walking out the theater with this film. I felt so confident to sit behind this mic and say with my whole chest that this was an A+ movie. I got scared. I instantly got scared. And I let a couple of days go by and I said, okay, the movie has come out now. Now let's see what people's reaction. Is it just me? And so after I saw everybody's reaction online, well, not everybody's, but most people reaction online, I was like, okay, good. Thank God it wasn't just me. It wasn't just me. This movie really is as good as I thought. And so I went to see it again, and I felt the exact same that I did the first time. Actually, I felt better the second time around, even with me knowing what was coming, knowing how things were going to play out. It was a different viewing experience, and I still enjoyed it more. First and foremost, the movie has vampires in it. That's something that I didn't say in my initial review because I didn't want to spoil it in the event that nobody knew that. In case nobody knew that vampires was in this film, I didn't want to spoil it because it's not a vampire movie per se. This isn't Dracula. This isn't Nosferatu. It's more than that. This is a 1930s period film that just so happened to have vampires in it. It is not the whole movie. This movie, I've heard some comparisons over the weekend, and I 100% agree with them. If you ever saw not Till, but From Dusk Till Dawn with George Clooney and Quentin Tarantino, it's similar to that. That's a vampire movie, but it's really like a fugitive movie that turns into a vampire movie at the end. And Sinners is similar to that. It's a I guess you could say quote unquote black film that turns into a vampire movie at the end. Pretty much the same setup, They're in this club just like in Dusk Till Dawn. The vampires are outside trying to get in, and this, that, the third. It's pretty much the same setup, just done better, just done with a higher budget and done with more heart and more. I don't know. I don't want to, because if I go any further with that, it'll seem like I'm poo-pooing on From Dusk Till Dawn. I love From Dusk Till Dawn. One of my favorite Robert Rodriguez films, Quentin Tarantino film. I love that movie, hands down. So I don't want to poo-poo on it, but it's a real accurate comparisons between the two. Sinners, I think, edges it out because it's telling more of a story here. It's telling about a procreation. It's telling a story about community. It's telling a story about temptation. And it's a lot being said in this film that is, I don't know, I guess it's in the eye of the beholder, because I saw a lot of reviews that says different things. Every reviewer says something different, but they're not wrong. Their interpretation of this film, they're not wrong. It's the truth. This movie has so many different interpretations that you can pull from, and I think it touches everybody, because everybody deals with these things. Everybody deals with temptation. Everybody deals with chasing their dreams no matter what. Everybody deals with uh or have dealt with your family traditions, but carving your own path, or trying to carve your own path and chase your own dreams, and not your father or your mother's or your family's dreams. You want to walk your own path. All of that is just beautifully displayed in this movie. That is like, my God, they are telling. And Ryan Coogler has said this is his most personal film, and I can see that. And to be honest with you, I would assume so, because his last four films have been based on IP, different IP. Fruitvale Station, his first film, was based on a true story. Creed was based off of the Rocky series. Black Panther was based on a comic book, Black Panther Wakanda Forever, the comic book. So those weren't original. Nothing was original. This was his first original film, and man, it poo-poos on all of those movies, in my humble opinion, because you could feel that this was a personal film for Ryan Coogler. You can feel that he put a lot of love, a lot of thought, a lot of blood, sweat, and tears into this movie. Every detail mattered. Every frame of this film mattered. I mean, it was just beautifully shot. Beautifully shot. One thing I wanted to get into or touch in on that I couldn't in my first review of Sinners was the sequence when we get Preacher Boy, or Sammie, who's portrayed by Mark Caton, or Canton, I'm sorry, who does a phenomenal job. I still can't wrap my head around the fact that this was his first acting role, period. Not just first movie. This is his first time ever acting. Ever. And he's the lead. I know that Michael B. Jordan is billed as the lead of this film, but the protagonist in this movie is Sammie, Preacher Boy. He's the protagonist. That's who we're following. That's the character who we are, the audience is, in this movie. And he had the task of carrying this movie and showing us and narrating this film for us. And man, this dude did a phenomenal job. I am just blown away, because I've seen seasoned actors and actresses who couldn't hold a candle to this dude. And for him to do it his first go around is nothing short of awesome. And so the scene that I'm talking about was the scene that he's singing at the juke joint. And, the movie is set up. It tells us early on about music. Some people have the talent to bring, to touch music throughout time, to touch the spiritual realm. And in this scene when he's singing this blues song, and it is thumping in that juke joint, man. I mean, they were going, I wanted to join in so bad. And as the camera moves around, and Ryan Coogler, he switches the format from your normal theatrical format to IMAX. And we see the camera sweeping through this club, and all of a sudden you see like this old African drum player, beating the little Congo drum or whatever. And you're like, okay, where are we going with this? Am I loaded? Am I high right now? and then you hear an electric guitar. Now, mind you, it's the 1930s here. You hear an electric guitar, and you see this Jimi Hendrix looking dude pop up, or this Bootsy Collins looking dude join him on the floor as he's singing. And you're like, okay, he's touching. You going through time, but you going into the future as well. And as the camera, this is a one-shotter. This is a one shot, and you're going around, and then you see the African dances. Then you see some guys with the white t-shirts and the, in the blue jeans crip walking, and you see old boy with a turntable, the DJ with the turntables mixing it up, and you see when we move over to the Asian character, Lisa, I believe her name is, and she's walking through the club and the camera's following her, and you see some Asian dancers with the, with the get ups that they wore, and they're dancing along as well. And and the camera sweeps back out, and you see all kind of dancers just dancing around and all these different forms of music. At first, when this first started out, the different music was kind of distracting because it was off beat a little bit. But as the camera moved, as the scene started playing out, it started to sound like one cohesive song, one singular song, and it was amazing. Then the visual of the juke joint burning down, and they're outside, everybody's outside, and everybody's dancing, and this reaches the vampire, the head vampire, who's played brilliantly by Jack O'Connor here, and he wants it. He wants that sound. He's driven or hooked in by this music because he wants it. He wants his memories. Because a vampire, the representation of these vampires here is not only they just bite you and suck your blood. Blah, blah, blah. It wasn't just that, but they want, when they bite you, you become like part of this hive mind, and takes your memories and takes your emotions, your feelings, and everything about you. They suck out, not just your blood, but they suck out everything that makes you you. And so he wants this. He wants to take Sammie. That's who he really wants. It's not about everybody else who's at that club. He wants Sammie because he wants that sound. He wants that music, that soul that he has. Why does he want it, you ask? Well, it's because he wants to take that sound and use it the way he wants to use it. We see Jack O'Connor's character, and I watched this movie twice, and I don't think they ever used. Do he have a name? I don't even remember if he had a name. It didn't matter. I didn't care. Anyways, you see him with these songs, the old bluegrass song that he played with the two Ku Klux Klan people early on, and then later you see him with the Irish jig, because Jack O'Connor is Irish, and so you see him doing the river dance and all this here. I'm like, man, this is a cool sequence. This could be a musical. You can classify it as a musical if you want. The way they use music in Ludwig Göransson, and I still can't nail his name down, is he's doing God's work here, man. The dude is phenomenal. Been enjoying his work as a composer. Going back to Black Panther, that was when I first was exposed to his work. Actually, Creed, but Creed was just Creed. But I loved his work on Black Panther. He won an Academy Award for it. But his most recent works with Christopher Nolan, and with this as well, he is awesome as a composer. He also did the Mandalorian theme, which is also fire. If you heard the Mandalorian theme, but the dude use of music, which is a character within itself in his film, is nothing short of awesome. But the point I was getting at before I went on that was that the vampire wants to use it to his will, bend it to his will, and that opens up the discussion of how throughout time, how others have taken from different cultures and used it to their will. And in this case, the black culture, blues music, using blues music and morphing it into country music, or morphing it into rock music. And we all heard the stories of how artists in the 50s and the 60s were having their music stolen by white artists and didn't get any credit for it for years. years. In some cases, still haven't gotten the credit for it. You know, the great king of rock and roll, Elvis Presley, is always known for taking from the black community, the music. And I mean, come on, man, just listen to it, and they have. And look, it ain't nothing wrong with sharing it. Ain't nothing wrong with it if you want to use it, because Elvis Presley had an amazing voice, powerful voice. He can sing his behind off, perform his behind off. God rest his soul. Just give credit where credit is due. You know, don't give. He took all the credit, just like all of those artists back then took all the credit, taking it from the black community, and that was the point. That was the message there that I got out of it, and I thought this was a great way to show that by using vampires, man. By using vampires, disguising all of these social commentary in a horror film. That takes an immense amount of talent. And I am so happy to have seen this shown in this way. I mean, it, you know, any you do it any other way is preachy, and nobody likes to be preached to, which is another thing in this movie that, that touches on, you know, preacher boy. He got that name because his dad is a preacher, and his dad wants him to be a preacher like him, you know, but he wants to sing the blues. And the existential crisis that Sammie has of wanting to follow his dream and be a blues singer, even though you have Smoke, or was it Stack? I forgot which one, but telling him, man, go back home to your dad, go be a preacher. What I mean, yeah, go be a preacher and all this here, or go to Mount Bayou, Mississippi. Go there. It's a black-owned town and all this here. And I'm gonna be 100% honest with all of you. Tears flowed out my eyes when he said that. And the reason the reason it hit, and I'm about to cry now thinking about it. The reason that hit home so hard is because it literally hit home. That is the birthplace of my mother, Mount Bayou, Mississippi. And yes, it is indeed a black-owned town, and it is the first black-owned town in Mississippi. Some say in the United States, period. And been there multiple times, you know, revisiting with my mom and my parents and whatnot. And it was a thriving town back in the day. They had their own hospital, had their own police station, had their own everything. And it was a thriving town. Last time I've been there, not so much. Not so much. But it's been a while. Maybe they have bounced back or whatever. But it's been years since I've been back to Mount Bayou. But that is the home of my mom. And for him to say that, and for it to be accurate, you know, it wasn't just on a whim. It really touched my soul. And it's the truth, man. I mean, go there, make a better living for yourself. But he being Sammie was determined to sing the blues, no matter what. He was going to leave home. He did not want to follow in his father's footsteps and be a preacher. He wanted to go his own path. I get it 100%. But hindsight 2020, he probably should have went back home. But before I get out of here, this is the point I wanted to touch in on, and that was the ending of this movie and why I just didn't I just didn't care for the ending the way it came about. I appreciated how it ended. That we got to see Ku Klux Klan people get mowed down by Michael B. Jordan. That was beautiful. Oh, it was great. It was Avengers Endgame level of satisfaction to see those racist, bigot idiots getting just tore up from the floor up by a Tommy gun. But it was out of nowhere. And that's the part that kills me. Yes, they set it up. Yes, they did set it up. When, like I said, the vampires, when they bite you, they get your memories, your thoughts, and everything. And so when Jack O'Connor's vampire bit the Ku Klux Klan guy, he got the memories and he knew that the Ku Klux Klan was coming to that juke joint in the morning to ambush all of the black people that were there. And so he knew that. All right. And he told Smoke and Stack and everybody there that that's what he was going to do and blah, blah, blah. And so that's how he knew that. I understand the setup. The setup wasn't bad, but the part I didn't like about it was that I would have appreciated it more if we would have seen the Ku Klux Klan more. If they would have had a bigger part. I'm not saying, you know, have them in five more scenes of the movie, you know, popping up or circling the building, or get a shot of them ducked out in the woods looking and all that. We really didn't need that. But a scene where you had the head guy, the one who sold the Smokestack twins that building, have a scene where he's setting it up, where he's telling the Klan, like, okay, this is what we're gonna do. We're going to kill him. That would have been cool. But I get the direction they were going. I get that you wanted the vampire to expose the plan. That's fine. Me personally, it just felt like it came out of nowhere. You know, that was my only gripe about the movie. And it wasn't a big gripe. It was satisfying because at the end of that scene, we got one of the most emotional scenes ever. You know, when Michael B. Jordan and you have is it Rose? Wome Musaki's character, you know, after she made the sacrifice, well, not sacrifice, she got bit, and she told Stack, or was it Smoke? I get them twisted up. Told him that she doesn't want to turn. So if she get bit, stab me in the heart. And so that's what he did. And that was heartbreaking. Literally. It was heartbreaking. So we got to see her, and he was dying, so he got to see a vision of her and their unborn child, the one who died. And she's holding the girl. I think it was a girl. And she's holding her, and she's like, yeah, put that cigarette out so you can hold her and stuff. It was just, oh my God. Oh my God. It was emotional. But that's at the end of that scene when he kills the Ku Klux Klan. So you had to have this scene. So I'm not, like I said, I'm not mad at it. It just felt like it came out of nowhere. And for a second, the first time I watched it, it just felt like, man, this is out of the blue. Now, when I watched it the second time, mind you, I knew what was coming. It didn't bother me as much. But the first time it was like, what? Okay. You know, but cool. Kudos on them. But before my last thing I want to touch in on is Michael B. Jordan. I can't say enough how this is Michael B. Jordan's greatest performance. Yes, he is a beast in Black Panther as Killmonger. He is amazing in that role. He's great as Creed. He's done some great things. This is phenomenal. And the reason this makes this phenomenal, I said this in my initial review, with the way you can distinguish both characters. He's playing both characters, but they feel like two different people. He plays them differently and does an amazing job at it. But the reason I'm bringing that up now in this spoiler review, I want to touch in on a scene, and it shows it so much, and I couldn't discuss it in my first review, non-spoiler review. The scene where the other brother he has been bitten and he's dying. He's dying in his arms, so he's holding him. And Michael B. Jordan is just wrecked. He is wrecked, man. The tears are flowing. You see the vein popping out in his neck and in his forehead. He's just like devastated that his brother is. I mean, he couldn't barely speak. It was genuine. And then it hit me. It hit me the second time watching this movie, and I didn't really notice it the first time, but I noticed it this time. He's acting with himself. He's doing this with himself, and he put on this performance. Who does that? That is amazing. That dude, standing ovation, man. Standing ovation. That is amazing. The fact that he pulled that off, did it. I mean, you felt the emotion on this dude. I mean, he was devastated. That's his twin. They literally been together since the womb. Since they both attacked the egg. They've been together. Oh my God, that dude deserves his. I'm sorry if I ever doubted Michael B. Jordan. That dude is phenomenal. Love him, and love Ryan Coogler. I read a report, and I'm not 100% confident that this is 100% fact, but it kind of makes sense. The reason Ryan Coogler made this movie and have the vampire element in it is because, as you know, he directed Black Panther and Black Panther Wakanda Forever. He went to Marvel because Marvel was struggling to get Blade off the ground. Still is struggling to get Blade off the ground. Ryan Coogler offered to direct Blade. Marvel Studios told him no. Marvel Studios are idiots. They are idiots. Ryan Coogler would have destroyed Blade. I mean, what were they thinking? If this is true, what were they thinking? They're idiots. They're idiots. So what did he do? He took this, went over to Warner Brothers, and made this magna opus of a film. It's this masterpiece of a film. Like, I showed you, and Marvel Studios is still sitting around trying to figure out how to make a Blade movie. But man, once again, kudos to Ryan Coogler, kudos to Michael B. Jordan and that cast. And oh man, I wanted to touch in on Haley Steinfeld. If you're going into this movie thinking you're going to see Kate Bishop from the Hawkeye series on Disney Plus, that ain't her. This ain't her. This is a grown woman you about to see in this movie. Boy, Haley, girl, you did that. She is amazing in this movie as well. Everybody, there are no bad performances in this movie. Delroy Lindo. If Delroy Lindo gets nominated for Best Supporting Actor or something like that, would not be shocked. The dude was awesome in this movie. Everybody, I mean, look, I'll be here forever. But anyways, everybody did a great job. Completely enjoyed it. This is just my little, I don't know. I just had to talk about it. I wanted to talk further on a couple of points in this movie, and I hope that everybody enjoyed it. I am screaming to the top. Everybody I talked to over the past 4 or 5 days, I've been saying, go see Sinners. What are you doing for Easter? Go see Sinners. Go see Sinners, man. I mean, that's it. That's been my talk all weekend, and it's going to continue to be my talk in the near future. So yeah, man, great job by Ryan Coogler. But once again, I would love to know your thoughts of Sinners. What were your feelings after checking it out? Did you enjoy it? Did you love it? Do you think it's one of the best films of the year thus far? I do. I think this is the bar, and this is going to be a high bar to clear for the remainder of the year. Love to know your thoughts. Email the show, kbradiopodcast@gmail.com. You can also search for the show on all social media platforms. Just search for the KB Radio Network. Also, don't forget about YouTube. Subscribe to the KB Radio Network channel on YouTube and like this video. Don't forget about the 5 stars in the reviews and sharing this show. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, wherever you are currently listening to the concession stand here on the KB Radio Network. Everybody, thank you for joining me for this little chat, this spoiler review, if you will, to Sinners. Want you all to know that I love you. Continue to love everyone. And until we speak again, you all be blessed.